I am young Homer, here to guide you to the final chapter of Series 7, Worst Enemies and Greatest Threats in the Rise and Fall of Zeus. Tonight, we conclude with Episode 63, Mortals Rise Against the Gods, the Flood of Deucalion. In this tale, we witness a time when mortals, driven by defiance and hubris, begin to challenge the authority of the gods. Zeus, watching from Olympus, sees a world where corruption and arrogance have taken root among humankind. In his wrath, he calls forth a great flood, one that will cleanse the earth and restore the balance between mortals and the divine. But from this flood, a new beginning will emerge, led by the pure-hearted Deucalion and his wife, Pyrrha, who will carry forward the light of humanity. As we enter this story of judgment, loss, and rebirth, allow yourself to settle deeply into the warmth of your bed, feeling safe, supported, and calm. Close your eyes if you wish, and take a slow, deep breath in, letting calm and stillness spread through your chest, as steady as the quiet before a storm. As you exhale, release any lingering tension, allowing your body to grow heavy, sinking into rest and ease. This is your time to unwind, to let go, and to find peace. Now focus on the gentle rhythm of your breath, each inhale and exhale, as steady as the rise and fall of an ancient tide. Take a slightly deeper breath in, letting it fill you completely, and hold it softly for a moment. Then, as you exhale, feel any tightness melt away, leaving only warmth and comfort. One more time. Breathe in deeply, and as you exhale, feel yourself sinking further, calm and serene. Now, let's guide each part of the body to soften, inviting rest with every breath. Start with your forehead, allowing it to relax completely as you exhale. Move to your jaw, releasing any tension, letting it rest gently. Now, bring awareness to your shoulders. Inhale deeply, then let them fall, as though settling like gentle rain upon the earth. Allow your arms and hands to grow heavy, resting peacefully by your sides. Notice the steady rise and fall in your chest and belly, inhaling as your belly rises, and on the exhale, releasing any last bits of tension, feeling light and free. Shift your focus to your hips and thighs, letting them sink deeper into the bed, fully supported and relaxed. And finally, bring your attention to your calves, feet, and toes, allowing them to release completely, grounded and serene. Now imagine yourself at the edge of a vast, quiet sea, where dark clouds gather and the air is filled with a profound stillness. In the distance, you see Zeus, standing tall upon Olympus, his gaze stern as he raises his hand to call forth the flood. Below, Deucalion and Pyrrha watch the waters rise, their hearts resolute, knowing that they are to carry humanity's hope through this trial. The flood comes, but from it, a new world will be born, cleansed and renewed. With each breath, feel yourself surrounded by this calm strength, as though you too are part of this cycle of endings and new beginnings. Inhale deeply, letting the balance and peace of the scene fill you, and exhale, feeling grounded, steady, and fully at ease. With your body relaxed and your mind open, allow the story to guide you into this world of transformation, endurance, and quiet resilience, where even in the face of great trials, hope endures. Take one last deep breath in and let it out softly. Now, let us begin. In the early days of Zeus's reign, the gods held a firm, almost paternal relationship with mortals, offering guidance and protection. Mortals, in turn, paid homage to the Olympians with rituals and prayers. But as the centuries passed, mortals grew more independent, questioning the influence of the gods and chafing under their control. They became skilled builders, warriors, and thinkers, discovering the strengths within themselves. Some even began to doubt the need to honor gods who seemed distant, prone to capricious wrath and demands for worship. As mortal kingdoms grew, pride took root among humans. A new boldness emerged, emboldened by their accomplishments and spurred by a resentment toward the limitations imposed upon them by the gods. Across the lands, whispered tales of forgotten gods and unseen realms stirred their imaginations. In defiance, some mortals even neglected to offer sacrifices, forsaking temples in favor of celebrating their own creations. To Zeus, this insolence threatened the carefully maintained balance between mortals and immortals. The growing arrogance of humanity was a warning sign that the reverence that once defined their relationship was beginning to fade, a shift that, if left unchecked, could lead to outright rebellion. Determined to remind mortals of their place, Zeus sought to deliver a lesson that would both humble and reset their relationship with the gods. As Zeus observed the unrest among mortals, he felt a deep sense of betrayal. The gods had granted humans gifts of life, strength, and skill, yet these gifts had led to defiance. His council on Olympus was divided. Some gods, like Hera and Ares, argued that mortals had grown ungrateful and were now dangerous in their disregard. Poseidon, ever fierce and proud, suggested that a flood would serve as a swift reminder of the power held by Olympus. Others, like Athena, cautioned against severe punishment, advocating instead for a subtle approach to restoring faith and respect. But Zeus, convinced that a drastic measure was needed, made his decision. He would cleanse the world with a flood, washing away the arrogance that had taken root among mortals and allowing for a rebirth of humility and reverence. The flood, he believed, would be an unforgettable lesson, a reminder of the gods' authority and the importance of balance. His resolve was as firm as the storm he prepared to unleash, a decision forged from a mix of disappointment, anger, and a desire to protect the divine order. With a wave of his hand, Zeus summoned dark clouds, and Poseidon stirred the seas, raising waves that lapped hungrily at the edges of mortal lands. The judgment of Olympus was set, and the world awaited its reckoning. As the floodwaters rose, mortals were gripped by terror, witnessing nature's fury in a way they had never imagined. Rivers overflowed, seas surged onto land, and rain poured from the heavens in torrents, drowning villages, sweeping away temples, and swallowing entire cities. People cried out to the gods, their voices lost in the roar of the deluge. Thunder cracked across the sky as Zeus watched, his expression stern and resolute, knowing that this destruction was the only way to restore balance. Among the mortals, Deucalion, he son of Prometheus, and his wife Pyrrha, stood in defiance of the disaster. They alone continued to honor the gods, clinging to their faith despite the wrath that poured from the heavens. As the flood claimed everything around them, Deucalion prayed, calling upon his divine ancestor Prometheus for protection. Moved by their humility and piety, Zeus decided to spare them, allowing Deucalion and Pyrrha to survive as a symbol of rebirth and renewal. The flood eventually receded, leaving in its wake a landscape wiped clean of mortal pride. Those who had survived looked upon the world with fresh eyes, humbled and awed by the might of the gods. Their cries of defiance were silenced, replaced by solemn oaths of reverence and devotion, pledges to honor the gods who controlled the forces of life and death. As Deucalion and Pyrrha surveyed the desolate world around them, they were overcome by a deep sorrow for the lives lost and the responsibility they now carried. They traveled to the temple of Themis, goddess of justice and prophecy, seeking guidance on how to repopulate the world. Moved by their reverence and humbled hearts, Themis offered them a cryptic command: "Cast behind you the bones of your mother." Understanding that mother symbolized Gaia, the earth itself, Deucalion and Pyrrha gathered stones from the ground and threw them over their shoulders. Each stone they cast transformed into a human being. The stones Deucalion threw became men, and those Pyrrha threw became women. With this act, humanity was reborn, humbled yet grateful, a reminder of the gods' mercy amid their wrath. This new generation of mortals honored the gods more devoutly, respecting the balance between human ambition and divine power. Deucalion and Pyrrha's resilience and reverence became legendary, their story a beacon of hope and humility for all mortals who followed. In the quiet that followed the flood, Zeus looked down upon the world, contemplating the choice he had made. He knew that the flood had caused immense suffering, but he believed that it had served its purpose. Mortals now understood the consequences of their pride, the importance of reverence, and the need for balance between mortal ambition and divine authority. The flood, while destructive, was also a lesson, a hard reset that restored respect between mortals and gods. Yet Zeus also felt the weight of his decision. The destruction had not come without cost, and he saw that even his power must be wielded with care, for the line between order and chaos was delicate. The flood had taught him as much as it had taught mortals, reminding him of the responsibility that came with his throne. The punishment he had unleashed was a reminder that every act of power required wisdom, a balance that could not be abandoned, even by a god. In sparing Deucalion and Pyrrha, Zeus had left a path forward for humanity, a chance to rebuild from the ashes. It was a reminder that while divine wrath could reset the world, it was also tempered by mercy, a balance that would shape his rule for generations to come. In Olympus, the gods watched as mortals emerged from the flood with newfound humility. Even Ares, who often delighted in conflict, acknowledged the need for restraint, while Hera saw in humanity's rebirth a chance for the values of loyalty and devotion to be renewed. Athena, who had cautioned against the flood, saw the wisdom in Zeus's actions, realizing that even destruction could be a teacher. The flood became a shared understanding among the gods that their power was not to be taken lightly, that mortals were more resilient than they had believed, capable of both defiance and reverence. Olympus was reminded that mortals were not mere playthings, but beings with purpose and strength, and that their relationship with the gods was as delicate as the balance between light and darkness. The gods' respect for humanity deepened, for they understood that the flood had not only reshaped mortal lands, but had reinforced the boundaries between mortal and divine realms, strengthening the order that Zeus had fought to uphold. The story of the flood became legend among mortals, passed down as a tale of caution, reverence, and resilience. Mortals came to see the flood as a reminder of their own limitations and a lesson on the dangers of unchecked pride. Temples were built anew, and offerings were made with gratitude, as each generation honored the gods who watched over them, keeping the memory of the flood alive as a reminder of the fragile balance between power and humility. To Zeus, the flood remained a powerful symbol of his role as a guardian of order. It was a reminder that his rule, though supreme, was not without cost, that every decision carried consequences, both seen and unseen. The flood had solidified the balance between gods and mortals, a bond defined not by fear alone but by mutual respect, a respect that Zeus knew was essential to preserving peace in both Olympus and the mortal world. And so, the legacy of the flood endured, shaping the lives of mortals and reinforcing the duty of the gods to uphold the delicate equilibrium between heaven and earth. It was a legacy that reminded both mortals and gods alike that power, without wisdom and restraint, could lead to ruin, but with balance, it could forge a world that honored the strength and spirit of all. But the flood was not the only ripple created by Zeus's power. Join us in the next series as we delve into the far-reaching consequences of Zeus's decisions, actions that have shaped lives, sparked conflicts, and reshaped destinies. Discover how the gods' influence echoes through mortal and immortal realms alike, leaving a trail of both blessings and curses that will challenge Zeus's rule in ways he never anticipated. Until we meet again, may your path be filled with peace, strength, and a touch of magic. I'm young Homer, and I look forward to our next story.